Hey everybody, I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to an awesome episode of VO Buzz Weekly.
Yep, and we have James Arnold Taylor on the show today, ladies and gentlemen. Master impressionist and unbelievably cool guy.
Absolutely, yes. He is. And we have a book giveaway, and you don't want to miss it. You need this book. I'm not even kidding.
She's not kidding.
No. So let's go talk to James. Come on. Our guest is without a doubt one of the most versatile voice actors in the business. Promos, trailers, animation, video games, voice doubling, commercials, you name it, he does it. Iconic characters like Fred Flintstone and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, Johnny Test. And did I mention that he also is the genius behind the one-man show Talking to Myself and a new inspirational book, JAT 365. You guys have been waiting. The wait is over because we are finally going to get buzzed with James Arnold Taylor.
Oh, Jack, that was fantastic. That was the best.
I love talking about you.
Come on, really? How much
she does.
How are you?
We have been talking about you
so
for
excited.
actually quite a few days now.
Yeah.
And in doing a bunch of research on you, not that we didn't know who you were, because everybody does.
Oh,
but man, I got to tell you, dude,
dig.
I've been on your website. So has she.
Sorry.
We've been on your website. We've seen we're like just submerged in James Arnold Taylor, and you are. I was telling Stacey this. I go, I can't believe that one guy can actually be that talented. I mean, the stuff that you do is mind blowing.
You're like a hologram.
I'm not actually here.
Like all the other voice actors could actually go on vacation and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do them. I'll do you.
You know, Joe Cipriano just said to me the other day, he said, we do voice under, you do voice over.
That's good. I like that.
But no, that's very kind. It's one of those things of just being born and raised with the thought of voices. I want to do voices. And I knew since I was 4 years old that this is what I wanted to do, and I pursued it. Yeah. Pretty much with a passion. And so it comes out of me by watching all these people. So
Well, speaking of 4 years old, let's go back to when you were a kid. What kind of a kid were you? Because I know you couldn't have been normal.
I was a small child. We were talking about that. I was always the smallest kid in my class.
I'm waiting for a growth spurt any day.
Still,
They say it'll happen.
I'll call you when
let me know, and then
I
I'll
eat the
let you know.
vegetables. I'm like, no.
But I was always the smallest kid in my class, and I was, kind of like Billy Crystal says, I wasn't the class clown, I was the class comedian. The difference is the class clown will go and run streaking through the hallways. The class comedian's the one that convinced him to do it. So I was kind of more that guy. I was always thinking about voices and characters and reenacting Steve Martin routines and Robin Williams and doing all that. And I loved the whole aspect of telling stories with my voice. Yeah. So I had the old Radio Shack tape recorder, and I was doing, Rod Serling. It was submitted for your approval. And I was doing the little Twilight Zones.
When you were how old?
By the time I was 8 years old, I found these cassette tapes and records that had sound effects on them. So I was done. It was like, okay, so if I can somehow get this one to play over there, and and then you turn it off really quick, and then you go over and you hit the play, and I was making my own little shows, and so it was fun.
That's so cool.
And when I was 16, I started as a stand-up comic. And then at 17, I went to the local radio station in Santa Barbara. I'm from Santa Barbara, California. And I said, how do you get into radio? And they gave me a job passing out bumper stickers and sweeping up.
This is how you start, son.
Literally, getting paid nothing. And I would pass them out at concerts and go to the mall and whatever. And they had a big video van at the time. This was the 80s. And so I'd play the songs. And I would sneak into the production room at night. And I taught myself how to use all the equipment. So I would do that, and I started making my own shows, and the program director knew it. So one night, it was literally like out of a movie, where they knew, okay, this kid, he's been doing this, and the overnight DJ is God knows where. It was a rock and roll station in Santa Barbara. He didn't show, so they called me and they said, can you go on? And I was like, I was 17 years old.
Wow.
Like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. It'll be great, I went out there and I went on the air 6 hours and loved it.
Gosh.
And within 3 months, I had replaced the overnight guy and became that, and then moved into the production director, where I was writing, voicing, and producing all the commercials for the station.
That is so cool, man.
So it was just, and that's you in the middle of the night, and you need voices.
Yeah.
So you go,
you need to
well,
keep
I need
yourself
one
company.
guy here, and then another guy on the street, and and then this person over here, and sometimes a lady, and you just come up with whatever. So.
That is so cool, man. What station was that?
That was KTYD. K-Tide. 99.9.
K-Tide.
KTYD.
Yeah.
Wow,
and it was always confusing, because it's James Taylor playing James Taylor. So that's where the James Arnold Taylor.
Okay.
Right. So
Is James Arnold Taylor your real
It really
name?
is my real name.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I was going to ask him that because
Yeah.
I thought maybe his name was
Buzz
James
in, you gotta
Taylor,
hit.
and everybody's like, "Wait a minute, you're not James Taylor." You go, "No, I am," but I know you're not.
Hey,
Yeah.
you've got a friend.
Ah,
Yeah.
if
You've
you need
got
me,
a
I'll be up on the
friend.
roof.
Okay.
So
Winter, spring, summer. fall.
All you gotta do is call, man.
I'll be there.
Okay, we're done.
you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
How did the whole voiceover thing start for you after radio and all that stuff when you were a kid? Your first
Okay, so voiceover. Well, my first one was doing language tapes for Japanese students.
You speak Japanese?
No.
Teaching them how to speak English.
Yes. So Jimmy Messina of Loggins and Messina had a studio in Santa Barbara, and he needed someone to come and do some archiving of some tapes and stuff. And then he said, "Well, would you be interested in doing voice work?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, there's this Japanese company that needs some tapes done." And so it was like, Billy has a ball. His ball is red. And you had to over-enunciate everything. And
Yeah.
Shortly after that, they decided to do some video games. So these were like, this was 25 years ago. And
Yeah.
I did this game called Destrega, and then another one called Emmett. And Emmett was time backwards. So I played a character that aged backwards. And they needed somebody that could be an old man that also then got a little younger and younger and younger. And then finally he got to the point where he was a little kid and he was just, so that I was the guy that could do it. And so that started that. And then I went into, I came out to Los Angeles to do syndicated radio. And I did things for Howard Stern or Rick Dees or all these guys. And eventually, persistence. Here's the thing, persistence in voiceover. So I had my own home studio.
Yeah.
I would record my friends' demos, my friends that were actors that needed their voiceover demos. And I'd say, okay, the payment is you take my demo in to your agent.
Nice.
Nice.
So they kept doing it, and the agents kept going, yeah, whatever, fine. They
Yeah.
figured, okay, he's just doing demos. And finally, one agent listened to it, and I got a call, and it was like the rest is history. And from that point on, I've been working ever since.
Wow,
So, yeah,
that's cool, man.
That was about almost 20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
You see that? You see what it takes?
See?
First thing you need to do is pass out bumper
We
stickers and everything
love
else.
the
becomes-
P
it's
word. We
uphill from
love
there.
persistence. We are
Persistence,
fans
yeah.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in voiceover, because people go, oh, it's such a little click. How do you get into it? What do you persistence? If you're good. The other thing is I'm sure you talk about this all the time. I've seen it on the show. It's like the nicest group of people you'll ever find are voice
Yeah.
actors.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's not like somebody's going to go, sorry, man, you can't come in. If you're good and you can play, you're going to be a part of it. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and the community is always willing to help.
Yes.
Right.
So that's
Well,
pretty
and
cool.
working for 20 years and counting, what are kind of some of the biggest differences that you've noticed from then to now?
Oh, it is a different world. Now, it's like when I started, it was still kind of the announcer kind of thing coming in. And then that went away to the cool guy, it's like burger, fries,
Yeah.
Coke, Phil Buckman.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of this thing where it's just regular voice. And
Right.
I don't want to say it annoys me, but it kind of annoys me. It really annoys me.
It really.
What James means to say is he's annoyed.
Yeah, there's so much. We're so inundated. Everybody wants to be a voice actor. And I think that's great. I love that people are fascinated by it and they want to be a part of it. But the thing that's happening is you're getting this, I think what happens is producers and stuff want to do something so different, but they're going too far over. And
Yeah.
I hear a lot of voiceover now where I go, well, I couldn't understand what they said. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah, they're
there's
so
a-
into
yeah.
like
It
the
was
being
so-
real that they're
so
forgetting about the
real.
words.
I was like,
So,
really
no,
real.
Just go do this and whatever. It's like, okay, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the old, Corey Burton and I, we're the, we like to put our hands on our ears and
Yeah.
talk like this.
Yeah.
There was a reason they did that, so you
Yeah.
could be understood. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not to bag on the way voiceovers
No.
change, but it is
Right.
it's ever evolving, and I think people are always looking to be something different.
Okay, so we know what you don't like.
Yes.
Would
We've
you
seen
like
the
to
dark
share
side
a
now.
part of the difference between then and now that maybe you do like and
No,
that's advantageous?
And it's funny, there's so much that's the positive. The positive is again the fact that voiceover is so prevalent and so many people know about it and learn about it from video games
Yeah.
now or movies that are cast not just with celebrities and such. That there's a want for people to actually want to be a voice actor. I think that's fantastic. Social media has allowed us to become that much closer to our fan bases
Yeah.
and to interact. And people are always learning more. I think the thing that's really cool about it is people are seeing that it's a craft
Yeah.
and that it truly is an art. It's
Yeah.
not just what it used to be of, you know, kind of the guy with his hand in his ear, because there's also a negative to that.
Yeah.
And it really is a whole new craft now where you go, I have to tell an entire story with my voice.
Yeah.
And everything has to be heard and emoted from that. And people are learning how to do that now. And there's kids that are growing up wanting to be voice actors. That's pretty neat.
Did you have, you know, because you have
is
that
cool.
transition, people say, well, if you were in radio, and did you have that sort of, were you the radio guy
I guess I was.
to
'cause
transition to voice acting?
I started in radio, so it was kind of a, I'm the radio guy that doesn't do the radio guy thing. Because I have
right.
I have kind of the natural kind of Michael J. Fox kind of sound, and so it was always that, and I was always booking that kind of like friendly announcer, you know, the Rob Paulson-y kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, it was a difference, but radio, I think, is a huge part of voiceover because I learned technique from that. I learned mic technique and headphone technique
Timing.
and timing
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
timing
And how not to screw things up.
yeah,
Right, there's
exactly
no
right.
second
Get it right
take.
the first time.
Reading cold, because you
Yeah.
are in radio, you're always reading cold, and it's always about that. I always tell people, if you want to be a voice actor, you've got to get things and read the paper out loud, read books out loud, read everything out loud, and just
Right.
know it backwards
Right.
and forwards. Yeah.
Right. So I would like to talk about your fabulous new book,
Come on.
Absolutely.
JAT
Oh, yeah.
365. Okay.
Yeah. So people go, "What is JAT?"
Yeah, what is JAT?
Okay.
JAT is James Arnold Taylor,
There you go. Simple.
because James Arnold Taylor is really hard to write.
Well, it takes up a
type.
lot of
Phonics,
letters.
James Go.
Space, man.
Okay,
It's
first of
just-
all,
yeah.
I just have to say the color scheme is genius.
Oh, well, thank you.
I love. Okay, so
my
you
favorite
have
color.
to. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
I love this book. It's so inspiring. Talk a little bit about why you did it.
Sure.
And what is it? And
Well,
we have
okay.
a little giveaway, so
Oh,
stay tuned.
Wow. Well, JAT
Whoa.
365 is 365 daily inspirations for the pursuit of your dreams, because I am somebody that is all about pursuing their dreams, because since I was 4, I have pursued this dream with a passion to be a voice actor. And I've had a lot of struggles and challenges and things that we can talk about, I'm sure, but through that, I found a positive attitude is what really got me through it. And people being there to positively build me up. And so I want to be that for people. I want to be an ambassador of inspiration to people. So what happened was I was finding on social media for the last few years, on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, I would challenge myself to put a positive message every day.
Yeah.
And so I started collecting a lot of them. And then I was thinking, well, this would be a good book idea. And then people started saying, you know, if you put these all in a book, I'd buy it. And I thought, okay, it's not a bad idea. So we started collecting them, and then when it got to about 150 of them, I really challenged myself to finish the rest and do another 216 or something like that. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So I started putting them all together and added to them, and every day I was putting new ones on. But the book also has, if I may,
Yes,
Yes.
you may.
and thank you. You know, I designed the whole thing. This is all a completely self-made, self-published
Love
book.
it.
Wow.
So I designed all of it to look a little bit like a social media page.
Yeah.
And then inside is, you know, the days. Now, it's not a calendar. It's not like January, February. It's, So
Right.
you can pick it up
It's
and put it down
yeah,
anytime.
Anytime.
And then there's an inspiration. And then you've got a little spot to diary. And I ask you a question that pertains to that
Give us a
inspiration.
sample reading, James.
Let's do a
Yes, give us
sample.
a sample, James.
Sit back, light the fire. Here we
yes.
go.
Come
Where's
on.
your, where's
Come
your
on,
pipe?
Jack. We're ready.
We need your vapor pipe.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Well, wait, grow, live. If you're waiting for something today, know that in the waiting is where we grow. So embrace the wait and find peace with what you're learning through the process. And then there's a question. What has kept you waiting?
So now you got to answer the question. Got to think. Now there's also a little thing, accept, forward, and practice at the top. So when you read
I
it,
love that.
you accept it. You go, okay, I accept that. That's pretty good. Or James, you're nuts. I don't accept it. Then you forward it, meaning that you share that with somebody that day. Whether you take a picture of it with your smartphone and send it off to somebody,
That's
or you
cool.
just tell them about it. And then the practice is to practice it, to put it into practice throughout your day and through your life. So it's very simple, but it's also at the same time, it's kind of a great journal for yourself. Because I
Absolutely.
ask you in it, what are your dreams? What are your goals? So you can look back a year later and go, oh yeah, I had that goal. I achieved that, or I didn't achieve that, or
Yeah.
I need to get back to that. So hopefully people will be inspired by it. It's
Wow, yeah,
it's a
that's
great
really
kind of
cool.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I've kept a journal for ever.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you write things down, it's a different level of consciousness and accountability.
Absolutely.
And you can say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, but when you have to really take that thought and put it to paper or iPad or whatever, I mean, I'm a purist, I love writing.
Me too. Yeah.
So I think that's a totally different situation, and it puts you in a different place of ownership to really action your way towards whatever it is you're saying you want.
make it a red letter date in your life, and you go, I'm going to actually do this because it's written down. I should.
Yeah. I love this. Congratulations. Everyone needs this.
Everybody needs this.
Yes.
And the good thing is
but you can't have mine.
James is being very generous with our viewers, and he has decided that he was going to give 4 lucky viewers a copy of this awesome book.
That's right.
What do they need to do to get it?
I don't know. They need to say
Guess what number you're thinking right now.
If you can write in and guess what number he's thinking
and
right
in
now,
what
we'll send
voice? In what voice?
How many eyelashes are on his right eye?
That's right.
Yes.
No, how about if they send a positive, something positive that has got them going to my Twitter, which is at JatActor, J-A-T Actor. So,
at JatActor.
Yes.
And
it's
that's
right
your Twitter
there
handle.
That's my Twitter handle.
So you're going to send it there.
Yes. Send me an inspirational thing.
There you go.
And we will pick some ones that we like at random.
At random. And how many winners?
4 winners. This is the first giveaway of the book, by the way.
Wow.
Thank you.
This
is
really, really cool.
To VO Buzz Weekly.
VO Buzz Weekly. This is really cool, man. Can I enter too, or is that like against the rules?
Cheesy, Chuck.
You know,
No.
Okay.
it's embarrassing. Stop.
Yeah,
Maybe I
please.
can I'll just buy one from you, man. Please.
Get help.
do that.
We're going to get you in the right group. We're going to get you in the right...
I'm going to give you one.
Come on, James.
It's all right.
You have to...
That's cool, man. I'm excited.
That's so
very,
great.
very cool.
I'm really excited. And just kudos for saying I want to do this and self-publishing, because that's a really...
It's kind of one of those things where you go, can I do this? And then you look and you go, yeah, I can do this. It's pretty easy. Why not?
Yep.
Love it. Love it. Okay.
So really quickly, you impressed the heck out of me today when I went to your website and I watched this little clip that you had that said 60 voices in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's take a listen right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Gilbert Gottfried,
Michael J. Fox,
Jeff Goldblum,
Christian Slater, Paul Reiser,
Jack Palance,
Daffy Duck,
Johnny Carson,
Jay Leno, Droopy Dog,
Robert Stack, Foghorn, I say Foghorn Leghorn,
Nicolas Cage,
Henry the Chicken Hawk,
Christopher Lloyd,
Sylvester the Cat, Sylvester Jr.,
Dudley Moore, Yosemite Sam, Yogi Bear,
Boo Boo Bear,
Dennis Leary, Snagglepuss, Jack Nicholson,
Speedy Gonzales,
Christopher Walken,
George Bush,
Marvin the Martian,
Elmer Fudd, Albert Brooks,
Alec Baldwin,
Bonnie Rubble,
John Lovitz,
Bill Clinton,
Mickey Mouse, Ross Perot,
Ronald Reagan, Rod Serling,
Restro,
George Jetson,
Tweety Boyd,
James Cagney,
Popeye the Sailor,
Robin Williams,
John Lennon,
Humphrey Bogart,
Wally Gator,
Peter Lorre,
Rodney Dangerfield,
Al Pacino, Jimmy Stewart,
Beavis,
Butthead,
Homer Simpson,
Gary Owens,
and Don Pardo.
Okay, so I love that demo, but have you met any of the people that you...
Oh, yeah.
And are they aware of the doubling that you do for them sometimes, or how does that go down?
I recently got to work with one of my favorite actors, Johnny Depp. And I've been Johnny's voice double for about 10 years now.
Wow, man.
Everything
Willy
from
Wonka.
Captain Jack, Willy Wonka,
Yeah.
the Mad Hatter, and then his regular speaking voice.
And his voice is not that dissimilar from mine. It's just very mellow, and he's got a bit of an affected tone to it. And so I got to spend all day with him from like 8 in the morning till 9 at night on a soundstage, just he and I, doing The Legend of Jack Sparrow. It's a Disney attraction. I don't think you know anything about Disney.
Disney?
But
Is that Busch Gardens?
it's at Disney World. And I'm the voice of the skull. So there's the talking skull. Arr, Captain Jack, I see treasure, you know, and all that. And so I was up on this 30-foot scaffold all day, just in my regular voiceover stuff. I didn't have to do costume. And he's in full Captain Jack regalia. Wow. And he's dressed up, and he's throwing bottles at me and shooting guns. And because I was there for his eye line, because the skull floats around, and then they use this amazing Disney technology to have him appear as, I mean, it's like he's right there with people. And so all day on the set with him was amazing. But I didn't tell him that I'm his voice double because I don't know, I felt a little funny about it.
You thought maybe he might like stab you or
just
something.
you never know. And I know John Ratzenberger a bit, and I've been his double for many things for Disney as well, for P.T. Flea and stuff. And yeah, I don't. I know that David Spade once actually recommended me when they were doing some stuff where they needed some of his voice to be replaced and things.
He's like, I don't want to do it.
Because I had done his stuff for a couple other things, and so his people somehow told the producers, get that James Arnold Taylor guy, he'll do it, and all that.
Yeah.
So I went in and did it, and it was a lot of fun. So I've done a lot of his voice doubling and stuff, but Ewan McGregor and I, we've been in the same room together, but and he knows, that I do Obi-Wan, but
So
what's
okay,
the? I got this one.
Nope.
I'm gonna
Please don't fight over me, really.
We're going to, James.
I'll just get inspiration.
So
inspired.
Those 60 voices he said, man, really impressive stuff. So I have to, because some people are really, really great at impressions and others don't.
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of formula to learn how to do voices.
You do.
What is your formula that you use?
Well, for me, all voices are tones. And so basically you can get from one tone to the next by, essentially adding a little depth or giving a little texture to the voice, adding an accent or raising up the pitch, whatever you have to do. So you can always find different voices in different places. And in my stage show, I do this bit where I run through all the different voices and I talk about how if you start with, I could do some of it if you want it.
Yeah.
But I happen to
Why
have
not?
pieces of the show right
You
here.
were showing us earlier some funny
He's
stuff.
positive
This
and
is a big
prepared.
treat.
My favorite.
I guess I could just, let's see.
Yeah,
Now,
let's
this is
do it.
your one-man show, talking to myself.
So there's Michael Emerson from Lost.
Yes.
And he has that way of talking that makes everything sound a little creepy and just a little off. But now if you take his voice and make it a little more rounded, you get Ron Howard. And you lose the folk and give it some soul, and it's Justin Timberlake. Now it's becoming like a social network of voices. Use some wizardry in a British accent, you get Daniel Radcliffe. Lay it back, give it a little twang, you get Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. Flip it over, and it's Heath Ledger. It's the Joker, and he completes me. Shifting over just a little, it's Christian Slater.
Who have you dropped down in tone is Jack Nicholson.
You raise it back up and seem less interested, and it's David Spade. Huh? And you are, I'm McLovin, and I totally sound just like, whoa, wait a second, Doc. Whoa, this is heavy. Oh, so let's drop it down in tone, and it's Shia LaBeouf. Oh, wait a second, Optimus. You mean to tell me that my car is a robot? Oh, I gotta tell you, this is like unbelievable. I gotta go tell Sandy, because
It's crazy the way these voices intertwine. And the way I break up my sentence structure is not that dissimilar to a smarter than the average bear. Hey, Ruffy boy. Hey, Freddy. You know there, Sammy, to properly connect the voices there, you just gotta
goes on and on and on and on.
Oh,
so anyways.
man. Well, that deserves a little round of
come
applause,
on.
man.
Come
that
on.
was so cool.
James.
Thank you for doing that. That was a
But,
treat.
No, and so it is one of those things where you think about it and you go, yeah.
Okay, so if John Ratzenberg's right there, the Swedish Avenue.
I started thinking about those things, and what originally did it was Christian Slater to Jack Nicholson, because Christian Slater is
He
basically
is. He's
doing
like a
Nicholson,
young Jack,
yeah.
And then like Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel, basically the same voice. And when they're in movies together, it's always funny because then they're just come on, it's just the same thing.
Ralph Cramden.
Yeah, and Barney Rubble, just like Jackie Gleason and
Yeah.
Fred Flintstone, who is near and dear to me. And so there's those similarities in the voices, but there's also, I know that like when Jay Moore did Christopher Walken on Saturday Night Live years ago, he unlocked the code for all of us that do impressions.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where you went, okay, he does this, and he breaks up everything, and everybody does Walken now.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like what Nicholson used to be. Everybody used to do Nicholson when I was doing
Right,
stand-up
right.
comedy. So if you just find those places where they're similar, like John Travolta and Christopher Walken, it's, okay, what? It's crazy. It's the
You're
same.
right. It is. It's very
Exactly.
similar.
Yeah.
Thinking about them all. So in the show, I run through about 120 of them there in a row, and just kind of, at the end, it ends with Porky
That's
Pig.
fantastic,
It's fun.
man. Can people watch this on your website?
They can. They
Yes.
can go to jamesarnoldtaylor.com.
You guys have to go
You
there.
have
It's
to.
a treat and
There's
a half.
a 30-minute version, but you have to watch the full.
You
the
go
full
and
version.
you
It's
click on the
amazing.
stage show up on the top. You click on stage show, and there's a trailer, which is 2.5 minutes. There's a half-hour version, and there's an hour version. And And I have a 90-minute version that is not on there yet. But
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of
fantastic.
fun.
And you've traveled all over the world doing the
Ireland,
show.
Japan, Florida, Los Angeles, and all in between.
Everywhere for a limited time.
Yes, and in the show, it's not just about doing impressions and stuff. It's really taking you behind the scenes of what it's like to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is the cool part. And your fans will certainly love the show in that, because I talk about, you know, ABC takes, eating green apples, wearing the right clothes, you know, whatever it is you need to do to be a voice actor. And I try to put it in an entertaining way as well,
Yeah.
and talk about our lives as voice actors running around and doing that whole thing.
Right.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but has there
Yes,
ever
you
been?
do.
I love doing this.
He does, right?
Has there
He
ever
does,
been?
He does.
I'm just going to ignore him.
No, don't ignore me. This is a show, man. We're live.
So then, James, what happened after you?
This is worldwide.
worldwide.
Has there ever been a voice
Yes.
that has actually tripped you and that you couldn't do, that you tried?
And that's where we zoom out.
If you could cry
1
a little,
hour, 2 hours.
if you could cry a little, that would really. It's sweeps week.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a voice.
you couldn't do
Once.
You know what it is? You know who it is? It's and it's somebody I actually know. We're not like buddies,
Yeah.
but our daughters actually were very friendly for a time. Our little kids. Toby Maguire.
Toby Maguire.
Toby Maguire has this voice that is so kind of unique in that kind of that youthful,
Yeah.
you know, like Michael Cera
Yeah,
and
it's
him.
got
They both
that
have
kind
those.
of
And everybody
crackle.
assumes I can just do it.
Yeah.
Because, you do the Michael J. Fox and all the young voices and all that, you should be able to do it. And it's like, yeah, I can't do that one. And so that one just gets me. Some voices are very close, like Ron Howard. Ron Howard's not that different from my voice. It's just a little more, you know, in there,
Yeah.
right? So it's harder for me to get to those voices than it is, say, I don't want to blow out the mic, but
If I'm doing Gilbert Gottfried, now of course Gilbert's very loud and he's very different from me.
you know, so, or
Yabba dabba doo, Fred Flintstone, Wilma, Bonnie.
very different. So it's easier to go
So
there.
good.
Right.
go-
Then something similar.
Something like, yeah, if I'm going to do Michael J. Fox for a long period of time, you know, it's like, okay, I have to be able to really hear him and not me. And so it's
How
tricky.
do you take care of your voice?
Well, actually, I lost my voice many years ago on February 13th, 2005. I woke up one day, could not speak, and just massive laryngitis, and I didn't know what was going on. And I went to the doctor the next day and went and found out that I had Candida had grown really, really strong in my throat. The reason was we had black toxic mold growing in the walls of this house that we bought. My wife and I were about to adopt our daughter from China. And so we bought this new house, and it was all going to be great, and it was a money pit. I mean, it was everything. We had foundation issues, electrical problems, gas leaks, ducting, heating, everything. And they put
And all
nails
this you found out after the fact?
after the fact. They put nails through the pipes while they were hanging the drywall. So for the first year, water was just slowly leaking through the walls. And I looked down and I saw that the wall looked swollen. And I put my hand down to feel for moisture, and my hand just fell right in. And then, of course, I did what anybody would do. I stuck my face in and went, well, what's that? And breathed it all in. And so I started feeling like, you know, oh, am I coming down with a cold or something for like months? And then it finally just culminated on that day.
After
where-
you pushed the wall in, you mean,
Yeah.
from breathing it like right there?
Yeah, I had blood tests done. They found 6 different types of mold in the wall. All 6 were found in my bloodstream.
Wow.
And so it created brain fog and fatigue and pretty much every problem you can imagine. I went from about 135 pounds down to 97 pounds. I couldn't speak for more than just, I was kind of like, you know, in perpetual Michael J. Fox, well, Mallory mode all the time. And I had just booked Fred Flintstone, Leonardo for the TMNT movie. We were doing Johnny Test. The Clone Wars was about to start ramping up. And I had no voice, and I really had to figure out what to do. So I took a real holistic approach to it. Very long way around.
For how long?
I'm still doing it, but I lost my voice for about 3 months, where it was just not working for me. Wow. And I had to really trick
Yeah.
it and myself and do short bursts on the ISDN line. That's where being a voice actor, you know, sometimes it's good because you can, I had to kind of hide away too, because, you know, when you're sick and then people think you're sick and they don't want to hire you and all that. So I did a lot of ISDN sessions and a lot of, thankfully I was doing a lot of promos
In this kind of a voice, and it was this kind of coming up next on Fox.
and I could get there. So it was like the grace of God.
Well, yeah,
I'm
like Fox,
God.
Spike, G4.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was all that like man's
all
man
these things.
thing.
And it
yeah.
was working at the time, you know, but I couldn't do just me or animation, domination, the clean stuff. It was really difficult. So I worked with a vocal trainer, Gary Katona, great guy, and he's all about rebuilding the vocal cords because they're muscles.
Yes.
So I work my vocal cords muscles every morning for 15 minutes, and then I cool them down at night.
What do you do?
I do exercises. So I start with over and over and over, and then and then
So that's basically stretching them, right?
stretching them, and I go down as low as I can and go up as high as I can, and then I just really and it helps with the resonance and stuff too.
Yeah.
And I watch what I eat. I only drink water. Maybe a little tea every once in a while. Lukewarm, you know, or room temperature water. Never drink cold water. It's bad for you. And no sodas. I don't drink any alcohol. I had to go on a very holistic diet. Actually, a macrobiotic diet, which they put on for people that have cancer.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing that helped me because the doctors wanted to put me on a bunch of medications that were actually making me lose my voice even more.
Yeah.
They were drying me out.
Sure.
So for the last almost 9 years now, I've been a vegan and a very strict kind of macrobiotic kind of diet. But I love it now, and my whole family has benefited from it. The crazy thing about that day, February 13th, 2005, and I remember saying a little prayer.
You're never going to forget that day.
No, I'll never forget that day
Yeah.
for several reasons, though, because I was saying a little prayer of just like, you know, okay, just get me through this. Just get me through this and give me a sign of something. And we found out 6 months later when we adopted our daughter that was her birthday.
Oh.
So she was born on that day, on
Yeah.
that actual day. So it was a nice little like, everything's okay.
Yeah.
And everything has been great since then. And, you know, my stage show is about that as well and inspiring people that, you know, our struggles are really what make us who we are. And they build us back up and they get us to this point of being even more because I was challenged all the more by that.
Absolutely. Well, that concludes part one with the ultra-talented James Arnold Taylor, but we'll be back next week with part two. Don't miss it.
And don't forget to tweet an inspiration because you need that book, you guys. Make sure to keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VO Buzz Weekly. We'll see you next week, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.